What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and today I'm back to talk about Warhammer 40K. In this one, I will be going over a summary on the events of The Lion, Son of the Forest, a novel that talks about how, where, when, and why the lion has woken up from his slumber on the rock. Because in the events of Arcs of Omen Book 5, The Lion, we don't get that. We literally just get the lion out in the galaxy doing business, but we don't find out as to why he has woken up from his slumber. So hopefully a lot of questions will be answered in this novel, and I do think that we'll get to see a bunch of revelations that have a bunch of implications for the lore, not just the lion Al Johnson himself. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive into this lore. And as always, if you guys want to get the full summary, I will provide the link to where a bunch of you guys send me the link to these spoiler summaries. And of course, if you want the official novel, it is titled Lion, Son of the Forest. So check that out for yourself, either on audio or physical book. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. So as it turns out, the lion is in this weird dream/warp state where things seem like reality, but they're kind of obscure. And he finds himself in a forest, kind of lost. He doesn't have any memories, and he's just trying to figure out who he is and where he's at. And while walking through this forest, he comes to a clearing where a lake is just there. And while looking into the lake, he sees that there is a person in the middle of this lake fishing. And now it's implied that this person is the Emperor, but as the lion calls out to him, he doesn't answer. He doesn't look back. And he still can't figure out who or what this person is. But before he begins to wade into this lake, a watcher in the dark comes up to him and tells him, "Don't. You need to leave. Do not go in there." And the lion agrees. So he goes back into the forest, and once again, he's trying to figure out what's going on. But before he can continue asking more questions, he comes across a bunch of humans being besieged by these horrors. Now, these horrors are actually warp demons, and it turns out that he's on a planet called Camarth. And Camarth is so close to the Cicatrix Maledictum that Chaos Spawn are running rampant on this world. So after, defeating the demons and talking to these humans, it turns out that they have a protector, and this protector is none other than a fallen dark angel. So they go and meet each other. The lion sees the fallen, and they immediately begin to fight. The fallen dark angel thinks the lion to be a traitor, and the lion thinks the same thing of the fallen. But before the lion can kill him, they come to a standstill, realizing that they're both fighting for the same cause. So it turns out that this fallen is named Zabriel, and that Zabriel was not a traitor when Caliban broke. He has just gone renegade, and that he's been stuck on this planet with no means to escape. But not just that, there's also a chaos warband on this planet that he's been fighting for a few years, and these are none other than the Thousand Eyes Chaos Space Marines. So upon learning about this, the two decide to go to one of the towers where the Thousand Eyes are and basically just kill them off. So upon going to this tower, they find out that there are blood angels imprisoned in the basement, being tortured and experimented on to the point where most of them have fallen to the red thirst. So of course they give these Space Marines mercy kills, and then the Thousand Eyes catch wind of this and a battle ensues. During this battle, the lion also begins to be dreaming or having hallucinations of being lost on a forest again. But this time, the forest uncovers a sword, a weapon for him. And upon reaching it in his dream, it materializes in the real world. And now he has donned a power sword in real life. So what exactly is going on with these dreams? Is this real? Is this all in his mind? Who knows? But no matter what's going on, it seems that these dreams are revealing more and more to the lion, as well as the lion using the chaos weapons and chaos powers to his own benefit. Eventually they go on to reclaim Camarth in full. The entire world is now cleansed of anything Chaos and the few Thousand Eyes Chaos Space Marines on here, but that's not all. It turns out that there is an entire fleet of Thousand Eyes who go to attack them, and they actually capture the Lion. So eventually a whole naval attack goes out. The fallen Space Marine Zabriel teams up with some space pirates who turn out to also be fallen Space Marines, and they eventually break out the Lion. So now the Lion has essentially a squad of fallen Dark Angels as his retinue, and they go to a space station where the pirates, aka the Fallen, have been using as like a home base. And as they're going there, the Lion once again dream walks into a forest where he meets the Emperor. Once again he tries to speak to him, but it fails once more. And again, a Watcher in the Dark informs the Lion that he's not asking the right questions. And then, out of nowhere, the shadows attack the Lion, but the Emperor intervenes, sending him back to real space. Now back in the Materium, the Lion finds the space station, who is being occupied by another group of Fallen who are very suspicious, and they're eventually convinced to join him. And then because of this, they now get more Marines, a Space Marine, Tech Marine, a Space Marine Apothecary, and because of this, they're able to kind of regroup, heal their wounds, fix any, cracks in their armor, their weapons and stuff like that, and they're pretty much brought up to full strength. Eventually, the Lion and Zabriel receive a distress call from Camrath, and they hurry there only to learn that the planet has been entirely set on fire by the Thousand Eyes in Retribution. The only untouched area is a wrecked Space Marine outpost, and they go there. So once on there, they see a Space Marine, and the Space Marine basically tells them that they have to go to a different planet and speak to the Fallen that are on there. Now clearly this is a trap, this is some type of way to kill the Lion off as like retribution, but the Lion, knowing this, agrees, and they go to this planet. Now on the way to this planet, which is known as Sable, the Lion begins to train his Dream Walk, which he now calls Forest Walk, and he's able to control it. So basically he enters into this warp space, which is a forest, and then he can leave and go to basically any place in the galaxy, which is pretty OP. Now knowing that of course this planet is going to be a trap, he takes a few of his fallen warriors and they all forest walk onto the planet. Here a huge fight ensues, the Fallen and the Thousand Eyes attack, and it turns out that the Lion is put in magic chains. They have some psychers there, and they are forged from the iron of the blood of Sable's butchered populace. And before the Lion is killed, of course, the enemy has to monologue, and he explains to the Lion that he's going to remove the Lion's soul from his body, and then he's going to use this meat puppet to go to Terra and gain an audience with the Emperor and kill him so that he becomes the next warp god. And so that's pretty crazy, because if you remember earlier, I talked about the Fallen going and attacking, or not going and attacking, but the Fallen being captured and taken to, obviously, Terra, and then the Dark Angels sending Space Marines to go to Terra, attacking any Custodes, any Space Marines, any guard there to get the Fallen back. And Cypher actually escapes and goes all the way to the throne room and almost kills the Emperor. So this is a mirror to that storyline, where instead of it being Cypher, it is the Lion, well, the Lion's body going to, the Emperor, killing him and becoming a god. So would that mean that if Cypher killed the Emperor, he would ascend to godhood? Really interesting things to think about. But anyway, continuing with the story, they go ahead and begin this ritual to drain the Lion of his soul from his body, but the Lion manages to hold out long enough for the Fallen to arrive and basically start attacking and wrecking this psychic soul-sucking ritual. Now the Space Marine that was doing this, Seraphax, the Chaos Space Marine, eventually ascends to a full demon, and he's fighting off the Fallen until finally one of the Fallen stabs him in the back, and this attack ends up killing him. So it turns out that these Space Marines from the Thousand Eyes also contain some Fallen within their ranks, and that these Fallen thought that this killing of the Emperor would actually allow the Emperor to revive, since he is a perpetual, and that they weren't fully chaos. So because of this, the Lion basically forgives them of their sins, and now these Fallen that have all been traveling and fighting alongside the Lion are now renamed and purified as the Risen. Now, after this whole battle with the Thousand Eyes and the Risen being purified, or I guess redeemed in the eyes of the Lion, they now begin to basically go from planet to planet and just helping out humanity there. They attack any Xenos, they attack anything that's chaos corrupted, until finally the Lion manages to forest walk again, and this time as he's going through his forest warp planar area, he sees an interesting figure. It's not the Emperor, but it's a shape-shifting demon that begins to take the shape, form, and appearance of the Primarchs, the Lion's brothers, and the two begin to fight. The Lion fights one brother at a time, killing one, but then another materializes. It's every time he seems to be getting the upper hand, this weird changeling demon, strikes him down, and it's just a battle of tug and war over and over and over again as this demon is trying to break his mind and body. But then finally the Lion gains a second win and slays this changeling. However, once this changeling dies, there is essentially a reward for the Lion, and it is none other than that of the Emperor's shield. So that's pretty interesting. So clearly we know that as he's forest walking, there's the Emperor there. So did the Emperor send this demon, this changeling, to test the Lion to see if he was worthy of this weapon? Because clearly we know that the Emperor's sword is in the possession of Guilliman, and he didn't really have to go through any trials or tribulations to get it. He was just kind of given this. Considering the state of the whole galaxy, I mean, there were no Primarchs at the time there. So the Emperor probably thought it is a necessity for Guilliman to have the Emperor's sword. But why test the Lion? More questions than answers, I feel, are coming from this novel. But we do get some interesting stuff with the lore of the Fallen, with them not all being corrupted by chaos. Some of them are just renegades, and that's good enough that the Lion has been redeeming them, and they are now calling themselves the Risen. But of course there are some that did fall to chaos, and he's been slaying and getting rid of those. But yeah, this is pretty interesting, because eventually by the end of the book, as the Lion and his Risen have been freeing worlds, eventually they come across the Blood Angels, and that's where Dante and the Lion meet, and that's how the two are seen together at the beginning of Arcs of Omen Book 5, The Lion. One huge thing to kind of get out of all this is that the Lion was kind of just dreaming, and this dream was like the Emperor trying to awaken the Lion, trying to test him, trying to basically make his son be another force for good in the galaxy, and that's exactly what he was doing. He was helping the renegade Fallen rise up to be a force for humanity again. He was helping the Lion try to regain his memories, his combat prowess through all these battles with like Chaos and the Thousand Eyes. And then at the very end, when the Lion seemed ready enough, he tested him by fighting all his brother Primarchs in the form of a demon to know that he's both ready physically, spiritually, and mentally to combat any horrors in the galaxy. And with that being said, he has gained none other than the shield of the Emperor. So pretty awesome lore there. Again, I greatly recommend you guys check out the full lore summary that I have the link below, and it's best to read the novel for yourself to get all the details and everything. But let me know what you guys think about this. Are you guys surprised by any of these lore implications? And yeah, stay subscribed, because obviously we're going to be bringing you more 40k lore. So yeah, stay tuned, stay subscribed. As always, it's the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.